You ever heard the term asset rich and cash poor? Well, I'm here to tell you that it doesn't lead to the lifestyle you're probably hoping for. The truth is, without cash flow, you'll never truly be financially free, nor live the lifestyle of your dreams. Along my career, I've had all of my expenses be over $1 million a month for all the different things we were doing. And with that experience, I'm gonna tell you some things that you've probably never heard before. My name's Pineda, and I've bought and sold over $100 million worth of real estate. I founded multiple 8-figure businesses, and I've learned a lot about managing cash flow over the years. The first principle that I believe is that cash flow is greater than net worth. So many people right now are so concerned about building their net worth. They're reinvesting every dollar they have into a stock, into Bitcoin, into real estate, and they're told that, hey, you know what? You gotta save for the future, you gotta invest for the future. All that really matters is about building your net worth. Become a millionaire, become worth 5 million, 10 million, 100 million. But the thing that no one really asks themselves is, for what? What's the end goal of being a millionaire? What's the end goal of being worth $10 million? To me, the end goal is always back to what can you do with the money that you're producing? And in order to actually use money that you produce, you've got to have money come in. And this is what we would call cash flow. Cash flow would be whatever is coming in cash on a monthly basis. I know tons of millionaires, especially real estate investors, who are what we would call asset rich and cash poor. They own a ton of money on paper, they've got a ton of equity, and yet they're living paycheck to paycheck. They're barely getting by. And you might be saying, how is that even possible, Ryan? How could somebody be worth millions and barely getting by? Well, owning assets doesn't pay the bills. At the end of the day, cash needs to come into your bank account some way, somehow. And if you own rental properties, the cash flow from rentals is usually pretty low, especially if you have mortgages. If you own stocks, your dividends probably aren't paying you too much money. And if you own something like Bitcoin, it doesn't have any cash flow at all. You're just holding it, hoping that it goes up in value. And so for all of those things, in order for real cash to actually come in, there has to be some kind of liquidation event, meaning you sell the asset or you borrow against the asset. Now, in the end, I've done all of those things, but what I have found in my life is that I want to create businesses or have assets that spit off a ton of cash flow. Because cash flow is what's going to fund my lifestyle. It's what's going to pay for the vacations. It's what's going to put food on the table. It's what's going to give me the house I want to live in. It's going to be what puts my kids in the school I want to put them in. It's going to be what allows me to give generously and do the things that are important to me right now in my life. I'm 36 now, and I've been able to live a really good life over the last decade, but the only reason I'm able to do that is because I have cash flow coming in every single month. Those are the best years of your life. Those are when you're the healthiest. It's when your kids are young. And so if you're gonna make those technically the worst years of your life so that the rest of your life can be better, it just logically doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I would rather live for today and tomorrow, and I'm gonna show you guys how to do that later on in this video. But really, the way you gotta think about it is cash flow is what makes your life great today. Net worth can make your life great tomorrow. Now, the second thing you got to understand about cash flow is that it can be both active or passive. But right now, if you are currently working a job, you are generating cash flow through working your job and giving up your hours. Passive cash flow, which is kind of a myth because nothing is really passive at the end of the day. It's just simply the degree at which it's passive. The problem I see with most people is they're trying to go into passive cash flow way too quickly. Almost every rich person you'll ever meet started off by having active cash flow, meaning they would go work a job, they would start a business, they were a solopreneur, they would be doing a side hustle. Either way, they were working and generating cash today. And as time goes on and they have way more cash than they can spend today, they would then start taking that cash and deploying it towards the passive cash flow type things or the net worth type things. But regardless of what anyone tells you, most people, even millionaires, are still doing active cash flow things. Over the last 5 years, my businesses have generated over $50 million, and yet I'm still here making YouTube videos. I'm still here running my companies. We're still here throwing events. We're flipping houses. I am still actively running my businesses. And you know why? Because I'm gonna make more money actively innovating and doing things than I am gonna be sitting on the sidelines trying to be passive. And also too, I want to work hard. I enjoy working. People who have built a lot of wealth usually like to work. I've never really met a lazy person who's trying to be passive from the beginning actually get wealthy and stay wealthy. You'll see some people who hit it big and they get lucky and they catch a trend, but eventually it always catches up with them and the money ends up going away at some point. And so I would say this whole idea of, man, you gotta retire early and you gotta have passive income, I actually don't think it's true for most people. I think most people would be better off just focused on making more active cash flow. And my argument is if you get really good at that, you can start building a business around whatever makes you a lot of money. My first 7-figure business was my house flipping company. Now, when I was first getting started, it was just me by myself doing everything. Then I hired one person to help me out. They started doing some project management. Then they started listing my properties for me. Then eventually I started hiring other people. They actually started closing deals and talking to sellers. And then I was the one just managing everyone. And then eventually I hired someone to take my role in that and start managing them as well. And as time went on, that business became a multi-million-dollar business and a form of passive cash flow for me because I was putting very little time into the business. Now, most people wouldn't think, oh, a house flipping or a wholesaling business would be a form of passive cash flow. But if you only have to work an hour a week at it and it can produce millions of dollars, I would say, what else are you going to be able to invest in that can do that? And that was my first light bulb moment where I realized that if you want to really create passive cash flow, the best way is through building a business or buying a business and then automating it so that you don't have to be the one in it on the daily basis. Now, I may not be super involved in that business anymore, but with my other company, Wealthy Investor, I am very involved. I'm doing trainings, we are coaching people, I'm doing live events, I'm working on our marketing strategies, I'm working with the sales team. I am very hands-on that business because right now we're in growth mode. I want to build this thing from the ground up. And then maybe at some point I'll start to ease off a little bit and it'll become more passive for me. But until then, I don't mind working because I want to build it and see it reach its full potential. The third thing you need to understand about cash flow is the velocity of cash. So this is a concept a lot of people don't think about. And it's actually one of the reasons why I love flipping houses, I love wholesaling, and why I'm not like a huge fan of rental properties when you're first trying to make cash flow. So let's use a hypothetical and say that you have $30,000. Now you got multiple choices with this $30,000. You could go put it in a rental property and just let the $30,000 sit there, and in the next 3 to 5 years, watch the property go up in value. Maybe it doubles, and you decide to go sell the property because, like I said, your net worth doesn't really mean much until you either sell it or refinance it. But either way, that $30,000 that you put in that property has now got a great return. Maybe you built $150,000 worth of equity, and so not only do you get your 30K back, but you also get $150,000. Seems on the surface like a great reward, right? 30,000 to 150 is a 5x. And for simple math, let's just say that took 5 years. So basically your 30,000 made 100% every year. Now it wouldn't exactly be 100% for all my math nerds out there because of a lot of different factors, but you get the general idea. Let's say you took that same $30,000 and you started a wholesale business or a house flipping business. And let's say instead you spent that money on marketing or you spent it to buy your very first flip. How many times could I turn that $30,000 over now is the question. Because on the rental property, I only turned it over 1 time in 5 years. But on the house flip, let's say I turn it over 2 times every year. And each time I put the $30,000 down on the property, I make $30,000 as a profit. So now each year my $30,000 is making $60,000. So it's getting 200% every year, but here's the thing. My money is now liquid. So not only do I have the original $30,000, but I also have the extra $60,000 that I've made in year 1. So now I have $90,000 total. Unlike the rental property where all the money's just stuck in there growing, I could now use the same $90,000 to go buy 3 deals at a time. Now I'm buying 3 deals at once. Average deal, let's just say it's taking 6 months. I sell it, I do it again, 6 months again. That's 6 total turns. So if I made $30,000 again on the money each of those times, that's an extra $180,000 plus my original $90,000. So now I'm at $270,000, and it's only been 2 years. If you did this again in year 3 and in year 4 and in year 5, you could see how it's going to compound exponentially and get you over $1 million. It's the same principle that says if you double a penny for 30 days consecutively, you'll actually end up with over $5 million. What that's referring to is the velocity of cash. And so this is why I'm a huge fan of turning my money over consistently. I don't like it sitting in something for a long period of time. Now, in order to go find that many deals and everything else, do you got to have more skill? Does it require more work? Absolutely. But like I said, when you're trying to build wealth, we're not trying to go just be passive about this. We're trying to go actively build wealth and create cash flow. And this is literally how I became a millionaire when I started flipping houses. It never made sense to me to go buy a rental property that goes and makes me $200 a month, even if it doubles in value the next few years. Because that same amount of money I would have put towards that rental, I can now go just turn it over and over again with house flipping, and I can turn it even quicker with wholesaling. So understand that the velocity of cash is really, really important. Now, this next one is something that I have been thinking about a lot, and it is the core focus of my business. And so this is going to make a lot of sense to everyone who currently owns a business. The thing that I've been thinking a lot about is my CAC to LTV ratio. So CAC stands for customer acquisition cost, and LTV stands for lifetime value. Now, you may have heard other people talk about this concept because it's pretty much the most important statistic in business. What does it cost me to acquire a customer? So when you guys see my Facebook ads running all around, I'm spending a ton of money to try and attract people to my business. Let's just say it costs me $600 to acquire somebody to become a customer. The question I got to ask myself next is, well, what's my lifetime value of that customer? Maybe I know that over the life of a deal, somebody's going to end up paying me $3,000. If you knew that you had this machine that you could spend $600 and you'd make $3,000, that would be a 5x. So it makes sense to just continue to acquire those customers as fast as humanly possible. And in reality, you should just spend as much as you can until that formula breaks. But there's a reason why companies can't do it, and it's something called the payback, which has to do with cash flow. The payback is how quickly do you make your money back on your customer acquisition cost. So let's say it costs me $600 in order to acquire a customer. It takes 90 days for me to finally make back that $600. That means I am going to be in the hole for 90 days, and I need enough cash to make sure that I can do that. Once I break even, that's great. I still haven't made money. I'm expecting to make the remaining balance over the lifetime. That could be a year, could be 2 years, 3 years, whatever the case is. But this is why cash flow is so important. This is why so many companies raise money to fund their growth, because they don't have enough cash to acquire customers at the rate they want to acquire them. They know they've got a great formula. If you knew that you were going to spend $600 to make $3,000 every single person, I mean, you should just spend millions of dollars. But most people don't have millions of dollars, and most people don't have the 90 days to wait. I can tell you my business has started to scale tremendously the moment that I started making my payback period shorter. So I'll give you an example. My company, Wealthy Investor, we're an all-in-one real estate platform where we give our students leads, we give them softwares, we give them one-on-one coaching, we've got events, we have funding for their deals, we have everything. The way that I used to sell the product was on a 90-day payback period. Essentially, I would spend a whole bunch of money promoting an event called WealthCon, and I would do this every single quarter. And so for 90 days until the event, I was actually in the red. You don't make enough from ticket sales to be profitable, and then there's all these upfront costs to go throw this massive event. And so I'm basically just 90 days waiting for the actual event to finally break even and turn a profit. And I ran my business like that for years, and it was fine. But then I started to understand this concept of payback period and how to cycle my cash quicker. Moved to doing, instead of massive big live events, into monthly virtual events. And so these monthly virtual events, I found that I was in the hole for up to 30 days. And then on day 30, when the event happened, we would break even and then profit. Somebody who had built a 9-figure business told me, well, Ryan, why don't you run these events every week? And I'm like, man, I don't want to freaking do this event every week. Like, that's a lot of work. And he's like, well, why do you have to do it? Why can't you get people to help you with the event? You get people to help you with everything else in your business. And I was like, you know what? You're right. Maybe I should try that. And so we started doing the same event, but now every week. And then something funny happened. We started to only spend money for 6 days, and then on the event, on the 7th day, we would break even. Guess what happened? I was able to now spend my money at a much quicker rate. It goes back to the same principle of velocity of cash. Let's say my marketing budget was $100,000. That was all the cash I had for marketing. Over a 90-day period, I would only be able to spend $33,000 each month. Let's say I move my payback period down to 30 days from 90. Well, now I can spend that same $100,000 in the first month, make it back, spend it again in month 2, make it back, spend it again in month 3, make it back. So now over a 90-day period, I've been able to spend $300,000 to acquire customers instead of $100,000. But once I switched it to a weekly, I was able to now expand into spending that money 13 times over the 90-day period. So now we take $100,000 and we're able to go spend it for $1.3 million worth of spend over the same time period. It starts to become obvious why making your payback shorter can scale your company really fast. Because before, I'd only be able to spend $100,000 and acquire that many customers over a 90-day period. Now I can take the same $100,000 and spend $1.3 million over the 90-day period because I've lowered my payback. So if you're a business owner and you're thinking about how to deploy your cash, how to acquire more customers, one thing that you probably haven't thought about is the payback period, because that is what relates to cash flow. Customer acquisition cost and lifetime value are more so like big metrics that over the long haul are going to make your company great. But you need cash to acquire customers quickly. And so the faster you can get paid back, the more cash you can spend. The next thing I think about when it comes to cash flow is I'm constantly analyzing opportunity cost. Just because you've invested your money in something at this point does not mean that that is the best investment going forward. Your business, your life, the market, they're always changing on a daily basis. Just because something has been great to you does not mean it is great for you now with your current situation. I'll give you an example. For years, I was deploying basically most of my money into flipping houses. We would have anywhere from 50 to 70 house flips at any given moment. This was over $20 million of debt. I'd have millions of dollars of my own money into the deals, and I'm just waiting for the deals to sell. And guess what? The average flip for us would take about 6 months. And so over the 6-month period, my money's just sitting there waiting to turn over. Well, as time went on, not only did I realize that, yeah, that's actually a very risky way to invest, having that much debt, those many properties, and if the market switches just a little bit, I might be burned. I soon realized there were smarter opportunities in front of me. For example, what I just told you with how we can now deploy our cash every single week and get it back quickly. If I knew that I could go take that same $100,000 and spend it on ads this week and go get it back in the same week, why would I put it in a house flip? It make a lot of sense, right? And on top of that, I actually learned this from Dave Ramsey when I interviewed him. I said, Dave, you know, you talk about being debt free, and I don't necessarily agree with that as a real estate investor. Like, you know, we like debt as real estate investors. But I told him, I go, how do you think about running your business? Because you owe millions of dollars every single month to cover your payroll, expenses, you know, everything. I mean, he's got like over 1,000 employees. So that's technically like a debt in my eyes. You got to pay it, and you're not sure how the outcome's going to be when you pay it. And he said, that's true, but the difference is we can get out of it really quickly. Ads can get cut off, you know, we can lay off people, like all those things could happen today. He's like, when you have debt, you can't do that. When you have a mortgage on a property, you can't just go sell it off tomorrow and be done with it. Like, it doesn't work like that. Real estate is illiquid. It takes time for it to sell. That really stuck with me because at that point, and being in real estate now for 15 years, I've realized that when you get in a pinch, it's really hard to liquidate real estate. This is why I flip houses and why I've been able to have a living, because there are people who need to sell tomorrow and they can't sell it quickly with a realtor. And so they have to take a big discount to sell their property to a cash investor, and that's the way the market works. It sucks when you're the guy whose business is built on that, and then you have to sell quick because something has changed in the market or you need the cash or whatever else. So I've just realized that at the end of the day, all of these principles kind of go together. We're talking about locking up cash, we're talking about velocity, we're talking about opportunity cost. They all go together. But just because I've been known as a big house flipper for most of my business career, that does not mean I have to keep flipping 50 to 70 houses at a time. Right now, I'm probably flipping 10 at a time, and we're wholesaling way more than we flip. But I'm not gonna have the ego and say, well, you know, I've just always been a house flipper and this is what I'm gonna have to do. It's like, no, if I have a better opportunity in front of me, I'm gonna do whatever's the better opportunity. At the end of the day, I'm an entrepreneur. I wanna make smart decisions. And I understand that not everyone has that same opportunity. If house flipping or if any other business is your best opportunity, you should go all in at that. Just because it's not my best opportunity or so-and-so's best opportunity doesn't mean it's not your best opportunity. I see a lot of people on social media who hate on certain industries. They'll be like, real estate sucks, buying a business is way better. Or someone will say, social media sucks, you should just be doing this instead. And it's like, yeah, social media does suck for you because your personality sucks, you don't know how to make videos, and you're boring. Definitely should not do social media. It's not a good opportunity for you. But don't say it's not a good opportunity for me and other people who crush it. So I would just say get rid of ego when it comes to analyzing opportunities and just say what is the best thing with my skill set and my resources and what I want to do with my life. I want to bring this home as I was talking about in the beginning, but you gotta live for today and tomorrow. I think it's really important to plan for the future, but I think that a lot of people are so hyper extreme one of the two ways. There are some people who pinch pennies the rest of their lives so that they can have some money when they're 60, 70 years old, and at that point, who cares? You just lived a life that wasn't that great. I don't need a bunch of money when I'm 60 and 70 and my body's not what it used to be. I want to have a great life today while I'm young. My kids are only young once. I'm only young once. I'm only going to be this age one time. There's a really good book called Die with Zero that makes the case for how to spend your money as time goes on, and I really agree with it. Not only does spending money today give you fulfillment and enjoyment, but it also gives you memories that you get to carry for the rest of your life. It's a balancing act because you can't get carried away with it and be on the side where, hey, you know what? I'm going to spend like there's no tomorrow. Nothing's guaranteed, so I'm going to spend it all today. And those type of people also live a really bad life because they're constantly stressed, they're constantly living paycheck to paycheck, they don't know where their next thing's gonna come from because they're never worried about the future. And so I believe that there's this balance that we all need to find where we're not only living for today, but we are also living for tomorrow. That's where I feel like I'm at. I feel like it brings the most happiness, it brings optimism for tomorrow, but enjoyment for today. So anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If it brought you value, make sure you're subscribed. We're gonna be putting out more like this.